Welcome to a spooky Honestly Rated, where today we'll be taking a look at your favorite Marachi member, Fiesta. Most of the time when you hear about Fiesta, it's probably people clowning on him because he is one of the most agreed upon characters, other than Sprocket, that is considered bad. But here on Honestly Rated, even if you have good rapport or bad rapport, I still like to give him a fair shot. So today with Fiesta, we'll be taking a look at his overall gameplay and design to really see if those claims are true, or maybe people just need to look in a different direction and really see why Fiesta is maybe good. But before we jump into the gameplay, let me give you Fiesta's lore. So Fiesta was part of a Marachi band that worked for Count Moneybone, and obviously Count Moneybone was supposed to be like this super gracious guy that everybody liked down there. But eventually when the Skylanders came by to kind of stop him from unleashing evil robots, Fiesta understood that maybe Count Moneybone isn't the greatest guy ever, and so he decided with his band crew he was going to help distract the robots to help the Skylanders do what they need to do. You know, obviously Eon and all them, they saw that and they're like, hey, you should be a part of us. And he's like, fuck it, sure. And that's how he became a Skylander. Last thing I want to say is Happy Halloween and Day of the Dead. This character fit perfectly for these two holidays and it lined up perfectly with my schedule. So that's pretty cool. Other thing is, if you want to see your Skylander Honestly Rated next, all you gotta do is leave it down in the comments. If you don't know which ones I've already done, there's a playlist in my description that shows all videos that I've made so far. I don't think I missed any. And you can also check those out more if you want to see even more Honestly Rated. And if you want to stay up to date with these do come out every single Saturday, but on special occasions they might come out on different days. Or if you want to just really make sure you stay up to date, you can also subscribe. It helps me out a lot. But with all that said and done now, let's see how well Fiesta and his band can really play. Starting us off, we have Trumpet Concord and Amigos, and let me tell you, I can tell immediately why people call this character weak, and that is for mainly his damage. His damage output is bare to none. This guy does 12 damage with his trumpet, which is his primary weapon. This is the thing you're supposed to be using the most, and yet it is doing nothing. And that doesn't go for the Amigos that do even weaker damage, but we'll talk about those later. So the trumpet is a range weapon that has medium range, but it isn't far reaching, nor is it something that goes out of Fiesta's way. It is more of like a streamlined damage that does have a special property. When connecting to an enemy, it does kind of stun them for like a little bit for usually the first hit. It does have like a special property in that sense, but other than that, it is just a streamlined damage that doesn't do any type of pushback or anything, or even like a slowdown that would help benefit trying to hit enemies. It is just very, very lackluster, but there is a thing to help mitigate that, and that is the Amigos. The Amigos, even though they are small, they are very mighty. They don't do a lot of damage, but will actually become the actual backbone of Fiesta in the future. But since we only have the most basic version, let me kind of break them down to you since there are multiple versions of the Amigo. First, you have the Guitarist, which does 10 damage and does knockback. Then you have the Trumpet Player, which also does 10 damage, but has long range capabilities. Then you have the Tambourine and the Clams, I believe. You can quote me on that. I don't know what instrument that one is. And they both do, I believe, 15, or maybe just the Tambourine. But they do more damage up close and personal, but obviously they are weak. They normally get one-shotted just by anything. There are some personal times where I've seen them actually take a hit and then just kind of keep going, but it's normally 1 to 2. There's not a lot for them, but they are very spammable. All you gotta do is just press the button and one randomly will pop out. It doesn't really seem like there's like a system to it. It just kind of comes out. Whoever you get, and you can't really throw a fit. And if you try to spawn more than 3, one of them will die and would just be replaced with something else. So you can switch them out if you really want to. Now there's one more long-winded thing I need to talk about the Amigos, and that is their AI in every single type of way, even enemy AI. These guys attack like no other. I honestly think that this is one of the best like little AI troopers I've ever seen and Honestly Rated. But the bigger thing that I like about them the most is that enemy AI attacks these guys like crazy. They honestly have more focus on them comparatively to you. If I had to take Astro Blast from my last Honestly Rated and his sheep, the sheep no one gave a fuck about. But here, they absolutely care about the Amigos, and that is super needed for Fiesta. Something that I really like about Fiesta is that he isn't the main star. Your character that you're playing as, even though you're doing very minimal damage, and that also goes with the little minions, you are not the main thing that is getting played here. It is actually the Amigos. The Amigos do basically everything for you. They honestly will probably kill most things for you, especially the guitar player if they can launch things off. They will make sure that you don't get hit in any type of way, and there's going to be an ability later that's going to really make that shine. They do it perfectly. Some way that I can kind of explain Fiesta in the best way. Go search up a professional Sonic player in Super Smash Bros. Look how they play. Fiesta is never supposed to be the guy in the front line trying to attack things. He is supposed to just kind of run away, be back there, attack when he needs to, when he's threatened, but other than that, just constantly run. He is not supposed to be there, which, in a sense, as a band player, is kind of smart. He is the leader. Whenever you look at it like a band or something like that, the guy that's leading it is normally not the people you're looking at. You're normally looking at everybody else that's actually playing the music. So I honestly really do like it. It's not something that I would expect. I would honestly expect myself to hate it. But hey, Fiesta's kind of doing it well. The biggest problem with Fiesta right now is mostly projectiles and things that do wave damage. They really do kill the amigos really fast. But other than that, especially things that come running at you, I don't have too much of a big problem. I've never died with Fiesta when testing him out. And for a character that supposedly is bad, that isn't too bad for me. So, man, a really long-winded intro, but I think a lot of this is going to be laid out, and we can kind of speed through a couple other things. So, let's go jump into the first actual upgrade you buy. Up next is Laid Low and Macho Amigos. Macho Amigos allows us just to deal more damage with our amigos, and that is obviously very good. For a character with very low damage, any damage upgrade is nice, but specifically giving it to the amigos before like our trumpet use or anything like that is a way better way to go. Then the other thing we have is Laid Low, and this honestly appeals to my mindset on how to play Fiesta to the max. So what this allows us to do is get rid of any AI that's on our backs. If you have an amigo on the ground, they will focus them instead. And the way to know if they are chasing you or if they're not off of you is there will be a little skull on top of their head that will be like they're chasing the little dudes. And that is a very nice to kind of get every single big AI off of you and just kind of put them in a crowd control where they're just kind of all bunched up in an area where then maybe if you want to get close, it's a little risky. If you want to get close, you can use a trumpet and hit a bunch of things for 12 damage. It's very weak, but it is very chippy. It will happen at a fast pace. And I promise you, after you get like the first kill of an enemy, a lot of things start dying just off rip. Bang, 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 bang. So yeah, Lay Low, again, appeals to my mindset of this guy immediately, and it's very good. It also does damage if you're really close to an enemy. They will do 20 when you pop back up, and it also allows you to take reduced damage. So again, very good. I like these two upgrades, and these things honestly took me a little bit to realize. In the beginning, I really thought this shit was ass. I thought everything was horrible, but when I just kept playing and playing, I just kind of realized a little bit more and more, like, this is a strategy that is kind of meant for Fiesta, and it does work. It works. Now, is it really good? That's really up to the person. If you like playing this type of way, probably it's like a fun way to doing it, but if you don't, I can see why it's really bad. But we have a lot of upgrades to go for, so maybe even more damage upgrades? It would be kind of nice. Let's go see. Up next is going to be Solo, one of the most least damaging moves, and Encore. Solo only does 5 damage. You can appeal to this move if you want to do it by constantly pressing your trumpet button, and little music notes will fly up in the sky. They will auto-lock, they will hit, but again, they only do 5 damage. But if you get lucky and hit a crit, you can do up to 8. It is one of the weakest moves I think I've ever seen. And you can fucking tell me in the comments, is this one of the weakest moves in Skyland's history for a level 20 character to do? I don't even want to know what a level 1 character Fiesta would look like with this fucking move in there. It is absurd how little this shit does. But just like with Fiesta's other move, this move isn't supposed to benefit Fiesta. This move isn't even supposed to really deal damage. It is supposed to help the amigos, even this move. And it doesn't show immediately with the move itself, but it shows with Encore. Encore allows you, for every single time you shoot out 5 of the notes, as you saw right next to my name, where it constantly says combo, they will last a little bit longer. Now, I will say, this is probably the shittiest one to get, but it is in the primary one, so I'll criticize it a bit. And the reason being is that most of the amigos aren't living long. And I mean that in the sense that they just run up to enemies and die, right? They're lemmings. They just fucking die, bro. They are not supposed to last long in the slightest. So the first upgrade being they last longer is basically giving them a little bit of life, I guess. Maybe the trumpet players will live a little long, but other than that, they're not doing much. But in the past, you will see this show up a lot more. So right now, and the way that I see it, Solo isn't meant to deal damage. It is meant to actually help the amigos when you get other abilities. But for now, it doing 5 damage, slowing you down, and realistically not helping a lot with Encore. It's pretty buns, I won't lie. But time to go on to the paths. With the top path, what is my personal favorite. The name of the top path is called What Amigos Are For, and this is what's going to be dealing with our amigos in the best way ever, with Take It Away Amigos and Mucho Amigos. Mucho Amigos, instead of us having 3 amigos now, we get to up to have 5. And like I said before with the amigos, they are the main core part about them. So yeah, having up to 5 is fucking beautiful. Then, when you go to the other one, Take It Away Amigos, guess what it is? It is another combo one. So every single time you do 5 single notes, or solo notes, you will give them a damage upgrade, which is again beautiful. These guys, they don't do much damage, so giving them even more damage as they're doing your bidding, yeah, fuck it, this is fucking cool. I like that. Again, like I said before, Fiesta himself is a weak character, and just giving these damage upgrades, especially to the amigos, then him, is the smartest way to go. And these first 2 are beautiful. And I'm not trying to dick ride Fiesta, alright? I don't have any personal vendetta with this guy. It's not like this guy paid me $1 million to say all this shit. Is that personally, when I look at characters, I like to see how they start off and then how they end, right? And when it comes to upgrades, there's some characters that they kind of blow their load a little too quick, and a lot of the upgrades just kind of feel like nothing. But with Fiesta, every single upgrade so far really felt like they're trying to add something to make this character even better, even though he is an ass character. His damage is kapooey! And again, it's a very slow burn for a lot of the fights, but they are trying to make him into something, and I can at least give him that for the uniqueness of him. So, on to the last one for the top path. Then for the last one is called Soul Jam. Now, even though they show like health things, it is not a health-based thing, even though that would absolutely make this path the best thing ever. But instead, it does actually still benefit us in a different type of way. What this allows us to do now is that every single time we go into low mode, which, you know, you're probably going to be doing a lot since you probably want all those enemies to not try to attack you, our amigos go a little bit quicker and they run faster towards our enemies. Now, it might not seem like a super beneficial thing, but it is. The amigos aren't really fast, and especially someone like the drummers, where they make a shockwave, and it is kind of hard to hit them with the amigos. Just giving them an option to just kind of get there quicker, and like maybe a drummer per se too, just to get there quicker, especially against like a spell punk to like launch them back, it is absolutely beneficial. And just to get them to just kind of do more damage, yeah, I definitely like it. Is it super beneficial? No, but I do see the use in it, and I actually do like it a lot. So yeah, top path, absolutely beautiful, golden. Give it like a A+ sticker. I enjoyed it. It really did its work. But we still have the second path, which maybe can be really ass, and I'll hate it forever. But there's only one way to find out. With the bottom path, we get to become a superstar, starting off with Diva and Shot to the Heart. Now, Diva is probably the most ass move ever, because it is actually useless. There is no benefits of this move. What Diva allows us to do is either get money, food, or more XP from enemies when they die. And the reason I say this is really ass is because, well, money and XP obviously aren't needed if you're level 20 and have all the abilities, so those two are practically useless. But when it comes to the food, when I grab it, Fiesta doesn't get healed. And if you're trying to say that they're trying to heal the little munchkins, our little amigos, well, that doesn't matter either, because like I said before, they die pretty quick. They can maybe survive an attack or two, but they don't live after that. I'm pretty sure they have like 100 or probably even 50 health. They just don't live long, so giving them the food doesn't make any fucking sense. It is a terrible move that, honestly, it's just a wasted slot. That's realistically what it is. It is a wasted slot. But then we have Shot to the Heart, which isn't the greatest either, because it doesn't benefit the amigos. It is more correlating to Fiesta himself, but I don't think it's bad. What it allows us to do is that every single time we shoot a singular note, it will pierce through an enemy and hit anything from the back. Now, even though it's going at a slight incline downwards, I do see it hit multiple enemies at a time, and especially when the amigos have a big clusterfuck of enemies kind of getting shrouded together. If you don't want to get close, let's say you're at low health, right? You don't want to get close to them. I definitely think just having this move, piercing through enemies, hitting them, even though it's 7 damage, is still been more beneficial. It's a lot more of a safer option. So I don't see it being bad, but it's also not like anything crazy like the top path had so far. So we do have one more move, maybe we can pick it up, but other than that, not too great. Last up in the path, we have Big Finish. And instead of making them go faster when we go in lay low, they are now getting fatter, and when they hit a certain threshold, they will now explode. And this has some cons and some pros to it. One of the pros is that, well, it does the most damage that Fiesta can do, which is 46, and does cause, not knockback, but it does cause them to jump and have stun, and then just kind of keep them in a singular place for a good amount of time, which allows you to put out more amigos, and just kind of do like a rinse and repeat type situation. And again, they do focus on them, so they'll get as many people to get blown up by them at once. But the one thing that I can say is pretty negative about it, well, is that you have to stay and lay low. You can't throw any solos, you can't do anything like that. You have to stay lay low for them to explode, and then right after you dish out more amigos. So it's kind of a pattern you just have to kind of keep to yourself if you want to. You can't really do anything else if you're going to commit to the move. So yeah, I definitely don't think the path is bad. I don't think the bottom one is bad, but if we had to compare it to the top one, just go with the top one. The top one makes Fiesta the best player that he can be. But I don't know, I didn't really find myself to be disliking the bottom path. Normally when I dislike something, I get pretty angry and mad, but this one I was just like, okay, it's whatever. I don't really see it to be bad. I think the notes, again, do work out pretty well, and I don't think the explosion is bad. I think it's actually pretty good. But there are a lot more negatives to this one than the top one, so yeah, take that as you will. You can pick it if you want to, but I think you're doing yourself a really big disservice by picking it. But we have one more last move to look at, and that last move is called Family Fiesta. We get to bring out the whole guest list and just kind of spam out a bunch of little skeletons that come flying out. Our trumpet move from the beginning is practically this move, but this move, you're stuck in one place, it does more damage, and I feel like it comes out at a faster pace than our trumpet move, so it can hit a little bit more. But other than that, oh, and it also kind of reaches a little farther. But then, other than that, that's really it. It's not super, like, whoa, crazy, wow, and it's not super strong, but it does work. It is just something. It is kind of funny with the name and everything. I like it. It's cool, but it isn't super crazy. But with all that, we have seen every single move of Fiesta, and it's time for me to give my rating. When going into Fiesta, I thought he was going to be the first character to ever get a 0 or 1, and honestly, I'm not going to give him that. My honest rating on Fiesta is going to be a 3.5. The things I can take away from this guy is, for one, I don't use his trumpet move a lot. There are certain times I did use it, but it wasn't a lot. Bottom path is pretty boring, or not even boring, just in the fact that it's pretty ass comparatively to the top one. Diva's a pretty shit move. Not even pretty shit, it is a shit move. Then the other two kind of go back and forth. The notes are fine, just not super cool. And then our laid low move that explodes, the final blow, final schmo, doesn't really matter to me. It's a good one, it's damaging, but I don't know. I think the top one fits a lot more what Fiesta's trying to be, which is a lot more of a slow, methodical character. And it honestly kind of shows to me that even if you have low damage, it doesn't mean you're an ass character. I don't think Fiesta is a bad character. I definitely think he's different in the sense that you kind of have to play in a specific way. And if you don't like playing that way, he won't be good. If you equate the damage to be like how good is a character, he's definitely really bad. And honestly, I also think for bosses, he's not great. He is not the greatest character to be trying to fight fucking bosses, but I don't think it's impossible. I think Fiesta could honestly do a Nightmare Run solo. I think he could do it, and you can show it off. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll be the Fiesta fucking power warrior out there, but until that time, maybe. Yeah, I think Fiesta's not that bad of a character. I definitely like him a lot more than I thought I would, and maybe with this newfound knowledge, maybe you'll try him out, maybe try different ways of playing him, and maybe you'll enjoy him just a little bit more. Thank you for Fiesta for being honestly quite shocked this Halloween. He scared me more than anything else ever could, but it was a pleasant shock. I definitely got a treat and not a trick. So thank you guys for watching all the way through. It really truly means a lot for me. Again, description has the whole playlist of every other video I made before, so if you want to check out more, that would be nice. And again, since you're at the end here, if you mind subscribing, it would be pretty nice. And again, you could check out other videos that I make that are not Skyline related, or wait until every single other Saturday to check out another Honestly Rated. Leave it down in the comments what you want to see next, and let me know actually what you think about Fiesta. This is actually one of the characters I really want to know your opinion, because this one kind of feels a lot more decisive and a lot more split comparatively to a lot of other Skylanders. So please let me know what you think about Fiesta. Have a great Halloween. Have a great fucking Day of the Dead when that pops around. But that has been Honestly Rated for ya, and I hope to see you next time. Peace.